Hello, everybody. So I know I said I was going to post the actual wrap up of the game, but then I had several people send me comments or whatever, wanting to wait because they hadn't got their stuff together to send to me. So everybody I think has responded. That's going to respond now. I can't really wait any longer anyway. I won't be able to do a video this week. Because I'm having oral surgery tomorrow, and I doubt I'll be able to talk on Saturday. So anyway, so here's our game wrap up. Everybody that responded that was being honest, in my opinion, pretty much admitted to the fact that they were not prepared for anything that long term or that bad. I had several comments that oh, we're so screwed, we're coming to your house. Okay, that's not an answer. I mean, that's I like the fact that you're admitting that you're not ready for any sort of incident, but planning on dropping it on me is not going to work out. I had several who I think were very honest in their opinions of their readiness, and I got answers like, "We're okay for 3 to 4 months, but after that, we're probably going to die." And then I had some, there again. I mean, I told everybody up front, don't try to fudge the results of the game to make yourself look better. But I had a couple that were like, "Oh yeah, we're fine. We have nothing to worry about. We got this under control." No, you don't. Okay. The whole point of the game was to show what your readiness level is and show you gaps in your readiness level so that you could address those issues. So there again, I mean, if you go back and look at it and you look at everything seriously, from a point of view of day by day, week by week, how well are you prepared? Hey, I've got a well, we've got a hand pump, we're gonna be fine. What happens when the water gets contaminated? Okay, if you live in a very rural area and you've got well water and you've got septic tanks and you have a way to manually get the water out of your well, that's a long way above and beyond what a lot of people have. If you don't have a way to get the water out of the well manually without electricity, you're in the same boat everybody else is. And then of course if you have septic tanks instead of a city sewer system, that can still be primed even with rainwater. You can put rainwater in your toilet tank and be able to flush your toilets. For everyone that lives in an urban area, the one thing I didn't see addressed by anybody from any comments was, what do you plan on doing? What do you have available? How are you going to get rid of your waste? And that's going to be a big issue when water and septic services are no longer functioning. Because you can easily contaminate what groundwater you have. You can easily contaminate your food sources. Never mind the bugs and the vermin and the disease. Same as I never got any response from anybody on what to do about the pile up of dead bodies in your area from that. Now, what I did get was a lot of really good questions. Like, how do you know that the EMP would cause that much damage? Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. It's all theoretical. What we do know, and what the scientific community has proven, is that an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, will, at the very least, cause electrical problems. At the very worst, they will cause complete electric failures. That is a known fact. Of course, to the scale we were playing on, no one knows. And there again, it's all theoretical. Another question I got was, what about the dead? How do you know so many people are going to die? Well, we live in a very modernized country. Most of us live in an area where we can have food within a 5 to 20-minute drive from our homes, and buy all the food we can afford and have it at our homes. Water, you can turn on the water faucets in your house and have hot and cold running water without any issues. Doctors, medicine, the pharmacy, colds, flus, you can go straight to the pharmacy and buy medicine for that. So those numbers were very accurate in the surveys and the studies that I've read, because the first thing that's going to get a bunch of people was going to be dehydration and malnutrition. Secondly would be murders, because in the initial problems would cause rioting, looting, and people are panicking, and so people are going to start trying to protect themselves and their families, which means there's going to be a lot of conflicts for the last bits of food at the grocery stores, the food at your house. It's going to cause a lot of crime. And then the next thing is going to be hygiene. Without clean water and without soap to clean yourselves with, something as simple as a scratch or a cut could lead to a dangerous, life-threatening infection. And you don't have to believe me on that. You can look at any of the third world countries. You can talk to nurses, doctors, paramedics. They'll tell you the same thing. Hygiene is very important. And there again, being in the modern civilization that we live in, a lot of things that a lot of third world countries deal with on a daily basis, we've not had to deal with in years and years and years. Okay? So there you go. I mean, hygiene, dehydration, malnutrition, violent deaths. Okay? And then next, without any sort of doctors or health care, what happens in your local area anytime that there is a power outage or any sort of significant storm, keeping people trapped inside, things like that. Within 9 months, of a population boom, don't we? People can't turn on the TV. They have to find another form of entertainment. So in the first couple of weeks, honestly, in our scenario, people will continue to expect the power to come back on and the government to bring things back under control. And when that happens, that mentality, they're going to keep having, sex, right? Which is going to lead to babies, which is going to lead to deaths, because no hospitals, no doctors, no medicines. I know for centuries people had babies without any issues, but there were people around who knew how to do that, midwives and that kind of thing. How many of you know a midwife? So then that leads to another issue, right? Okay, so I think the numbers are fairly accurate for what we do know in America for the American people. That within the first year we would lose up to 90% of our population, which is a very significant number. And there again, that leads to a lot of dead bodies laying around. So it leads to a lot of vermin, a lot of diseases. There again can potentially damaging the water and the food sources if they're not properly disposed of. So like I said, I believe all that is pretty accurate. Okay. So, the whole point of the game was not to really scare you to death, but just to show you how much you may need to prepare. Okay. Even here at the house, the wife and I both were doing it independently of the game. and, had a lot of issues pop up for both of us that we did not know how to handle. And basically it comes down to when your supplies start running low, running out, and you have to resupply, which means what? Robbing your neighbors' houses when you know that they're no longer here, scavenging the grocery stores and things like that, for the first couple of months. So what do? Do you go out on your own and leave everybody else at home? Do you take everybody with you and leave your home unprotected? There's a lot of things there where, we didn't see eye to eye. And it made me realize that, we've got a lot more things to potentially work on. So really, honestly, being very realistic about the game, the only way that you could actually say, I will survive that situation, would be to sell everything you own right now, take 10 to 30 people and buy a secluded area in the mountains or down at the coast or wherever, and start living in a commune now, growing your own food, making your own clothes, growing your own medicine, and learning to live off the land now. That's potentially the only way to actually survive that situation. One or two people, 3, 4 people, 6, 7 people by themselves may not be able to handle it. Trying to grow the food, harvesting the food, canning, preserving, and then protecting your home or protecting your area. It's going to be a lot. I don't think a lot of people realize the kind of work that's going to be involved in that. Mainly from the looters. They're going to run rampant, and they're going to run in packs. You're going to have easily in some of these neighborhoods, in an urban area, groups like rabid dogs, 8, 10, 12 in a pack, because they know that they have to be in large numbers to survive, and they have to be in large numbers to accomplish what they need to accomplish to feed their group. And you and I, working individually, will not be able to withhold that large a number for a long period of time. Then, of course, what are you willing to do to survive? Are you willing to kill? Are you willing to steal? Are you willing to, whatever it takes? So there's a lot of questions that still remain unanswered, but hopefully the biggest thing is that you need to realize you are not as prepared as you perhaps thought you were. Now, with preparedness, and I know I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it another dozen times within the next year. Even our government, FEMA, suggests having 3 days worth of food and water for everyone in your home in case of emergencies. Now, that's not the food that you have in your house right now. That's a separate supply. That's an emergency supply of food and water. So that's 3 meals a day, potentially, for everybody in your house for 3 days. That's also a gallon of water per person for 3 days. Okay, that's a lot of food. That's a lot of water. I don't think 3 is enough, personally. If you look at the situation that happened, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, the volcano eruption over last year in Norway, the volcano eruption that just happened a week ago in Mexico, I potentially think you would need more like 30 days of food. And if not 30 days of water, a way of obtaining fresh water, be it some sort of a filtration system, and you're catching rainwater or being close to fresh water and being able to filter it. 30 days of food, that's 3 meals a day times how many people are in your household or your group. There again, now we're talking about a lot of food, and most of it needs to be, of course, long-term storage. Rice and beans go a long way, but how many times a day you want to eat damn rice and beans? So that means a lot of dried, canned foods, or dried and canned foods, and lots of it. Okay, ammunition, weapons. You need to have at least a weapon for everyone in your home, and they know how to use it. and at least 500 rounds of ammunition for every weapon in your home. So there's a lot to think about, and I know it's a lot of what ifs. This has to happen in case this happens, that kind of thing. But the whole point of this channel, whole point of the group, is to study and to work on, self-reliance and the potential of protecting your family and yourself in any type of situation. So even if you don't believe in, anything but, bad weather, a bad weather storm, hurricanes, earthquakes, whatever, that should be motivation enough to get started. You don't have to be a doomsday prepper. You don't have to have a bunker in the backyard and enough food to feed 30 people for 13 years and that kind of thing. No one's asking you to do that. I'm just saying that we need to be prepared as a group. We need to be prepared as individuals for at least a 30-day issue and longer if you've got room for it and the ability to do it. Okay? Anyway, this will be the last video for a couple weeks because after I have my surgery this weekend, I'll be working the next couple weeks every Saturday. So if you don't hear from me as far as videos for a couple weeks, don't get worried. And I may throw something up here just because, but it's going to be a busy couple weeks around here. So we may not have a video. I may just post on the group or something. Okay. All right. If you got any questions about the game, by all means, feel free to contact me. If you got any questions about the comments here today about the game, feel free to contact me. But I seriously, if you're like me and you have been seriously watching things and trying to prepare, hopefully this showed you the gaps in your preparedness and you're looking for a way to fix them. Okay? All right, everybody. Y'all have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you as soon as I can. Uncle Steve loves you. Wants you to be safe.